the home of holistic healing, girl talk, and self love.
Welcome back, guys. This is Alysia Speaks, and we are back with episode 3 of our After Dark series. Before beginning this episode, I want to disclose that while this conversation may be therapeutic, it does not replace professional therapy. If you need to talk, call or text 988 or your local or national hotline. Seek therapy, and please know that you're not alone. Tonight we have Miss Senga. Please, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
It's correct.
How are you feeling?
I am blessed. I am invited in a warm and an intelligent grown folks
Yes,
of our own people conversation. That
right. That we need more of. By the way, guys, this is from Richmond to Texas and Texas to Richmond. So I'm definitely honored to have you on.
thank you. I am honored to be on. So thank you so much.
Tell us, how long have you been practicing as a sex therapist?
Whew. I've been a certified holistic sex practitioner for 10 years. Um, I've been having conversations about sex for many years. I come from poly parents. So I lived in an environment of no judgment, and there would be no question that would not be honestly answered. So
Mm.
I had a privilege that a lot of young people did not get.
And I
So
love how you corrected me. What's the difference in your perspective between a sex therapist and a practitioner?
a holistic sex practitioner, we encourage a lot of true communications. Don't get me wrong, we all suggest certain supplements and things of that nature, but more natural being. Foods, herbs that naturally help us have arousement or have us to have proper blood flow. And these are the things that I encourage to a lot of my clients. Coaching, encouraging is more effective than a pink pill or a blue pill. You have more feedback from your partner or your spouse when you're engaging in encouragement more so than pharmaceuticals taking control of a natural relationship.
Mm. Yes, I have to agree with that. Would you mind sharing a little bit of the dynamic of growing up in a poly household? How was that for you? I mean, you said no judgment. That had to have been amazing in many of ways to be able to express yourself.
I have to honestly say, when you're raised in it, it's your normacy. When you start having conversations with other people and you get the Scooby Doo effect, like, "Huh?" you know,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, well, do you not have two moms? No. Oh, did your father did not explain to you when you get your menses and start your cycle that you become a young woman? My father doesn't talk to me like that. So I was like, they're weird, and I can't understand why not. But
Right.
I realized I come from an era before the word was poly. The word polyamory has only been around 2 decades. The originator for it is free love and hippies, and that was the era of my parents.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
And the word poly is a Greek word for many, and more is more for love, so it means many loves.
Right.
Yes.
So how did that affect your dating life growing up? Did it affect it, would you say?
I want to say that I had to learn to listen to my peers and my surroundings and only speak when I felt that they need to be corrected on things they were myth taught or
Yes.
assumed. I have to say, I was not a very attractive girl growing up. I was very full figured. I was always cute enough to be the buddy, but not cute enough to get a date. So my first realization of my gift was in high school. High school jocks trying to date girls and so forth, they were under the myth of what stimulates girls. And I was like, you're not going to get a sexual encounter like that if you don't know what the vulva is actually designed for. And the gentleman just told me, he says, I drive a pickup. I don't drive a Volvo. And that let me know he didn't know anything.
Yes. And he definitely did not need to be having sex. Oh my.
I have to say, high school was my best making friends because I had to tap into something growing up that they were only taught through hustle magazines and porn. And I was like, well, that's not going to get you the stimulation and the receiving of compatibility with a young lady with porn and magazines. That's not reality.
Right.
So they was like, well, what do you know? I mean, look at you. You don't have a date. And I was like, well, what I do know is that you're not going to be successful at it. And one particular athlete, he took me serious. And he said, I want to talk to you and ask you some questions. So, needless to say, from ninth grade to my senior year,
Mm-hmm.
it had gotten to the point that students would A, get me lunch or pay me for what I knew.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was my first introduction to starting a business. I bought my first car to college out of having conversations on educating my peers on truth about sexual intercourse.
I love that. So you've been out here breaking boundaries. I love that.
So my superhero is Dr. Ruth, if you know who she is.
No, I don't.
Dr. Ruth, her name is Anorma Ruth Westheimer. She was the late night talk show that would talk to people about sex. It would always come on a late time television. And I
Hmm.
thought she was the most, a um, little bitty lady that was,
Oh, was she Caucasian?
yes.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Okay.
That's Dr. Ruth. She was the introduction of being honest about sexual relationships. And I said, is she the only one that knows what really goes on? And she
Right.
was my hero at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing because like I said, we need to break the stigmas.
Yes.
I feel like if more things are normalized in the household, we wouldn't go outside to find answers.
So,
From
my dear sister, may I speak?
yes.
With that being said, why, when you can answer this question for me, you and I both are be very wealthy women. Why are we doing something that we always do and no one wants to talk about?
Mm,
I'll wait
mm.
because we
Ask
were
it one more
taught
time for me.
sex is something that we all do.
Correct.
No one wants to talk about it.
Right.
And growing up, I'm 58, and I have to say, my father introduced being honest with your sexuality to my mom when they got married. My mother, my grandmother, and so forth, talking
Mhm.
about sex, you were going to hell or you were a Jezebel. Tho-
Right.
Those were the two things. You would learn about sex from your husband. Well, blind leading the blind, he's putting in his Rolodex what you're telling him that is good. And in all hindsight, you don't know what's good because you were never taught to masturbate. You were
Right.
never taught to explore yourself. You were never taught the proper blood flow on how to arouse yourself to be competitive with your mate. So I say this with total respect. I
Yes.
would like for all women to remove the lie of telling men they're good. Because guess what? You don't know what's good. So, how can you motivate him to encourage him to give you what pleases and pleasure you? He's going to put it in his Rolodex. And you're going to be like, I don't like this. But you told him this is what pleases you.
Right.
So I always tell my women in my age group, my oldest client is 83.
Oh, wow.
And trust me, she removes her dentures for her 72-year-old beau.
I know that's right. I know that's right. My Aunt Elle used to say, as long she said, I ain't dead, I ain't cold, and I ain't dry. As long as she says, as long as I'm kicking,
Yes.
it's gonna be a
Oh, I
stable.
like your aunt. I really
Oh,
like her.
yes, she used to be. She was one of those that was very raw and honest.
No,
And
no. She knew herself.
boom,
She was very aware.
boom. I
And
love it.
that's where I would like for all of the women my age and before me and after me
Mm,
to learn oneself, to
exactly.
please oneself, and then you can share that information with your mate. That's why that holistic part is so important. It's the communication, it's the true love language of what makes me sexually stimulated to be pleased. And
Right. I always say that. I used to tell my friend, I said, how don't you masturbate? I said, how do you really know what you like? Like you said, if you've never explored yourself. And it is kind of hard to believe that you've never. I mean, you know what I'm saying? How do you never touch yourself? You're always with yourself. What's wrong with it? I
but
don't
I'm
I
gonna
don't get
say
it.
this. Most women discover themselves by accident.
Mm,
I encourage a lot of my sisters
mm,
take a shower with a pulsating shower head. The pulsating of the water over your clitoris
mm,
is a vibration that your blood flow is attracted to because it's consistent.
mm.
I tell them, have that experience in the shower. Most people say, oh, take a bath. No, take a shower.
Right.
Have a flexible shower head. Stimulate the clitoris area. Wake it up. Identify with it. Remember how you got to that point. You do self homework. Just
Right.
like you have to do homework on your partner and your spouse, you do self homework.
Mhm.
And that's the outer stimulation. When we're going into the inner stimulation, I tell women, which it's so let me back up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to 6 months of an embryo. Okay. We all are the same sex. We have a penis, we got a scrotum, we're one sex.
Right.
When we
I
hit
was
the
just talking
seventh
about this recently.
Yeah, when we hit the
Mhm.
7th week, that's when we break off and start forming. We have a scrotum. The nickname for it is the G spot. I never figured out how it got the nickname the G spot because actually bulbs is what they are. They're called bulbs.
Hmm.
Yes. So
Hmm.
for enter stimulation, that's why it's so important when your partner inserts the head of the penis. It only takes that small location, especially if he has quality girth. Girth is more important than length. The girth definitely touches the bulbs and stimulate it. If he really want to do his artwork, stimulate the bulbs and also stimulate the outer clitoris, which is our penis.
Yeah.
Now we're on 2 cylinders. Depends on how comfortable you are. Tickle the anus. Now we're on 3 cylinders.
Yeah.
Are you following me?
Yeah, I'll follow you. I'll follow you. Yes, yes, yes. Anatomy is amazing.
It is. And when you don't know it, I tell people all the time, you're only allowed to be ignorant once because once you figured yourself out, you are the master of your own masterpiece, and that's you.
Right.
That
Right.
is you. And you paint the portrait of how your sexual experience needs to be for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody else can live your life for you guys. You have to live it for yourself. You have to take the wheel of your own life.
Yes, 100% agree.
How do you think that we distinguish what actually turns us on versus what we've been conditioned to turn us on?
That is definitely an individual on, it could be as simple arousement from collarbone.
Mm,
Some people like the back of the earlobe. I'm not a fan of the inner earlobe, but some people are. So you
right.
have to find the excitement trigger points that pleases that person. It could be massaging the crown of the head of the
Hmm.
person. So that's where you and your partner make a date and do a blueprint of building what excites me. Where are my pleasure points? Where are your pleasure points? And then you entertain them. My most encouraged way to do that, mental stimulation is the number one thing to work towards the physical stimulation. We do it so backwards.
Hmm.
We lose the most important energy to sacrifice for short term experience that's something that could last complete body stimulation and not just certain areas. I tell people all the time, give yourself a trick and a treat. Remove your sight and have your partner to touch you with, we call a spur in Texas, with or a spindle, um,
Okay.
or a feather, because the heighten of your sensors, your blood is rushing to that excited area. So, with that, remove your sight to stimulate your senses. Because once your mental is involved, all your blood flow is going everywhere. It
Mhm.
wants to be touched. It wants to have that spindle wheel. It wants to, figure out what's next, or that smell or that taste. Yeah, where's that scent coming from? All of these things come into play for sexual arousement.
Right. A nice adrenaline rush.
Yes.
Yes. I love that. I love that. How do you feel our childhood attachment style, like being anxious or avoidant, manifests in our adulthood when it comes to being vulnerability to our vulnerability? I can't talk today.
You're good.
Vulnerability and communication with sex.
Ooh, now that's a double-edged sword, beautiful. It could be a child of trauma.
Right.
It could be a child of a single or two-parent experience, watching interaction with their parents, or watching one parent interact with a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Hmm.
All of those things they take into account on what they're doing. That's something that I will be doing or trying to do, is mimicking. So, but I want to really touch on the trauma of it when a child has been molested or assaulted. The horrific part of that, the old saying, your first sexual experience should be a pleasurable one. But unfortunately, if it not, because your body remembers and it takes that into account as it craves that. It has a thirst for that feeling. It could be a violent situation where that young girl or young boy don't want it, but the body still is asking for it. So that's a double-edged sword. That's a real big one right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
We'll have to dissect that more. What's some ways that I'm sure that you have experienced this with your clients? What's some ways that you have helped them navigate through this?
With trauma, you always ask them how far back they're willing to share with you on what the trauma was. The worst ones I've heard is when it is a family member because it's a repetitive thing.
Right.
If the person was raped and it was a one incident, that is a trauma by itself. But the difference between the two, the trauma with the molestation with the family member is ongoing, where the sexual assault one was a one incident that you are working through therapy to get through that crisis.
Right.
So the one with the family member that's continuous, that one is the most difficult one to break because guess what? Now the girl or the boy is participating in something that they don't want, but their body still welcomes it.
Right. That's when the mind becomes conflicted as well. They start to love the manipulator.
Exactly.
Because I've experienced that. I thought it was cute in high school dating a female. I was 15, she was 20. And adult me, I'm 32 now. Adult me is just like, now that I've gone through the ages, how can you look at someone that much younger than you?
Because she was once that person.
And it's crazy because you hit it on the head. That's how we bonded.
Yeah. And see,
Yeah,
that's what happens with untreated trauma.
right.
Because unfortunately the victim becomes the victim. They do the
Mm,
victimizing. Yes. And
mm,
there's in their psychological mind, they don't see it that way. Or
right,
if they do, it's self-shame.
right.
It becomes very dangerous.
Mm.
Yeah.
All I can say is my heart goes out to those because I'm glad that I started having accountability and addressing things young. Because
Right.
like I said, even being an adult, she tried to contact me, and I'm just like, how do you still not see? So that just made my mind go because I'm like, how many other victims is it?
Exactly.
I just blocked her and let it go because I'm like, you're just gonna be sick
Exactly.
sick by
And like
yourself.
you're right. And this is the thing. She needed therapy and didn't receive it. And
Right.
that's unfortunately, that's 95% of the issue right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It
Mm-hmm.
goes untreated.
Right.
And that is the repercussions of what happens when it's not treated.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Along with even breath work and letting it out your body. Because, like you said, unfortunately, our bodies will remember more than what our mental will,
Oh,
guys.
yes.
And once
Definitely.
I started learning that, or when you sit by yourself, even suppressing your thoughts,
Yes.
how do you
Exactly.
feel about that with
Ooh.
as far as with sex? Like you said, with the craving, do you think that that comes mostly from suppressing?
it ha- Once again, that's a double-edged sword because the
Mm,
body received trauma and it didn't even acknowledge it as being trauma, especially if it was the first
mm,
sexual experience. That's the key. If it's the first sexual experience, the body immediately put it in its Rolodex of blood flow of this what makes me, you believe it or not, sad but true. There
mm,
have been so many women that climaxed in a
mm,
traumatic experience and they fight not to have a climax, but they still want it. That's a
right.
self conflict, and that's tormenting by itself,
Mm,
especially when they've moved on and have a boyfriend or gotten married or having kids. And that's some of the major issues in marital where the wife shared a little bit of the information, but she did not know how that works. So she couldn't thoroughly explain to him what's going on. So in his
mm,
mind, she's being moody. She doesn't want to have sex. No, she wants to be intimate with you, but she has to sacrifice herself to get through that trauma to be
right.
pleasurable with you. It's very mentally conflicting. It's
Right.
very, very sad, and it happens so often.
Mm. Talk about it, guys. It's better out there and talk to someone. Speaking of that, being intimate, there's a concept called responsive desire, where people don't just randomly get horny. They need the context to spark it. How can couples psychologically shift their environments to help trigger this if that's an issue in their intimacy?
I would have to say we're going to go back to introducing to the mental
Mhm.
climax. When you in the BDSM life we call it dynamic. In the vanilla life you guys call it role play. Role playing and dynamics are the foreplay of setting the mood. Men are very visual. We all know that. From from this the from a you can wear a man's dress shirt, and for him to see your curves, is he's already excited and ready to play.
Right,
Something that simple, they're easily to set at the go mark. But when you're with your partner, for you to be in the go mark, you have to have a communication of tease me, feed me,
right,
lick me, entertain me, strip for me. Yes, because it helps you set the mood. And once, like I said, once you give them the right information, they'll put that in that Rolodex. And then they will definitely follow through because that's what they're designed to do. But the thing about it, we give incorrect information, we give incorrect signals, and that's where it get crossed. And that when the wife or the girlfriend becomes, you're not being turned on, she's not turned on anymore, she's not responding to what I do to her, it's
right,
because the information, she needs to do her research first to share it with him. And believe it or not, 99.9% of the time,
hmm
the partners in our lives, they will be very receptive to that because they want to please us. They want to be that top notch. I please you, I give you what you need. That's their goal.
right.
When we give them the right tools, or as I say, the SOP, the instruction manual to get to that point, you know, then it helps both, but it takes time.
Right.
It takes us to do our research first.
And I feel like, just speaking the truth as well, I feel like a lot of women are scared to break a man's ego. Because maybe if you watched the flick, or maybe your girlfriend told you something, you're like, maybe I'll enjoy that. And say that you go and express it to your partner, you tried, and it wasn't good. And he'll
It,
ask you, and I feel like a lot of women will lie before a man will.
whew, nicely said.
I really do.
Because my whole thing is, like I said earlier in the conversation, my biggest goal is to tell all of my female clients, remove the elephant out of the room. Stop lying to men and telling them that they're good. Because
Hmm.
that falls back on us. We owe you a public apology. We told you guys were good, but I didn't know what good was. Yes.
Exactly.
I didn't know what a climax is supposed to feel like. And when I got one, I was like, how do I get that again? Or
Right.
what caused that? Or what was that? You
Right.
know? Yeah.
It
So
was like that the first time.
I'm telling you, and see, because we lack of knowledge, we were all ignorant once. But when we're brought in the know of the truth of ourselves, and then we become very confident, sassy, and more sexy and confident. Like, yeah, come get this, because I told you what pleases me. Let's play.
Right.
That's the difference. So that conversation is easier when you're confident, when you are confident in knowing what pleases you. And then you can't get rid of your partner because now he really want to play.
Right. 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 I have to agree. I have to agree. That's a mouthful right there. Do you think that this ties into shame?
Ooh, big time. Shame is definitely a big thing because just not knowing yourself is shame.
Right.
Um, that's what I have to say. Growing up, as a girl, my father was the first person when I became a young lady. I didn't want to talk to my mom, but I wanted to share it with my dad. Like, what's the next goal? Where am I about to go through now? What am I going to experience? Because my
Oh,
father was always very honest with me.
right,
And he told me, now you're entering womanhood. These are the things you must learn about yourself. You have two amazing mothers that's going to teach you to care for yourself and make you understand how your body responds to your new adventure of becoming a young lady. And
right.
that's one thing I loved about my dad because that information came from a man and he sets the standard.
I was going to say, for you to have had two mothers
Yes.
and still wanted to go to your father, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
But we need that balance.
We do. And
We
and
need
my
that balance.
father was the one that taught both of my mothers to self-pleasure. That was the thing with them. He says he wanted them to learn what pleasure looked like without him. So when it did come to when they did union, they understood that it was a union of everyone being pleasured.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So were
My,
they together your entire life?
oh, up until I was 12 years of age.
Wow.
But what happened was when my mother and father divorced, he immediately married the submissive, which is now my stepmother.
Oh, wow. So it's still okay, full circle.
Yes. All in
Wow.
the family.
Right, right.
All in the family.
Wow.
Yeah. So I still always had my mom. I
Right.
have two amazing mothers.
That's amazing. I mean, the dynamic, I've always been intrigued with poly relationships and just always wondered how it really works because I do feel like we've been just conditioned to operate one way, or people are so jealous and envious and, like you said, just lack shame and don't want to try new things or even experience threesomes. I mean, at least one time in your life. I'm a firm believer, do it at least once or twice because you really don't know what you, if you think about it, and of course if it's safe to everybody,
Right.
uh, why not go for it to see if you like it?
So my beautiful sister, may I speak?
Yes.
There is a great responsibility come with those two separate things you just said.
Mm,
And yes, life was very good for me, but life has some serious realities. Nothing's perfect.
right.
Jealousy shows its face. It always shows its face. But the way you diffuse jealousy is communicating what's causing this insecurity or this divide. Whatever that division is, you discuss it. You remove the elephant out of the room and be honest about it.
Right.
If you can't be honest and you feel you have to hide how you feel about something, it's only manifesting. But let's talk about menage a trois, like you was talking about. Menage a trois has rules and regulations. It has to be people that are not in your direct circle. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Has to be in a place that is not your residence or your favorite place of vacationing. You can't, it cannot be a part of what's your livelihood with your family, period, or just with you and your husband. You never take a menage a trois type setting into your personal life. It's a whole segregated thing. Because if you want chaos and havoc to show up, that's the recipe for disaster.
And I've always said that even before I ever have experienced it. I was like, I feel like this is the issue. People bringing in their best friend or a family member or a twin sister. That right, that's diabolical. You share the same womb and everything. It goes deeper than the same blood. And certain things, it's just crossing the line. Like you said, it's inviting certain energies in.
Now, I will say this, that's in that's in menage a trois or swinging.
Right.
Now, in poly, now that's a different thing because poly have known to have two sisters or two brothers in a relationship. Yeah. So you have to make sure everything is communicated, consented.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Document it, maybe a verbal or a written contract of the boundaries. Did you hear
Right.
that part? Because
Right.
boundaries, you have to share a schedule book. Everyone wants equal time and love and affection from the, the head partner or the head of household or the dom, however you address that person. Yeah, you can't cross schedules. You can't have the same schedule I have and we get along. That's not gonna happen.
Ooh, okay. I understood. Understood. That's why I said I know
Moderation.
what works for me and what
Yes, exactly. And that's what gets me about young people today
Yeah.
assuming they want a poly relationship. No, you don't want poly. You want to try a menage a trois or you want to try swinging because you can't do what they do in a doggone poly relationship. This is family. This
Half
ain't
of them can't even afford it.
so wait a minute. So let's talk about finances if you want.
Yes.
In poly relationships,
Yeah.
everyone is employed. Everyone has
Mm,
responsibilities. For an example, I can use this for an example. A head partner or
mm,
head dom, and I am the head submissive or the wife.
right.
He and I already would share the responsibility of the mortgage. Yes. The
Okay.
stuff that we bring into our dynamic of our relationship, she will be designated a responsibility. She could have the utilities or she can do the car insurance. Everybody has a financial responsibility. I was in
Mm,
a poly relationship for 5 years, and my Dom made sure and made clear we all went to college, and my submissive or sister wife at that time, we both went to school. He wanted to make sure we were educated and financially stable, and not only as in the family, but as an individual in case life happens.
right.
Yeah. So
Right.
when you taking on poly, you are taking on a family.
Right.
Yeah, you
Y'all
have
hear that, Richmond, Virginia, guys? Because I think it's what you said. They want to experience a menage a trois and they don't think about the full spectrum.
exactly. And you can have the menage a trois, you can have the swinging side, but
Right.
you need to put it in its right place because the last thing a gentleman want is two angry women in the household with him.
Right.
He would not be sleeping at night.
At all. Look, maybe not even for the week. Maybe not for the week. Double trouble.
That part. Yeah, so you definitely have to be very specific on what you want and how you want it. Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
because you're playing with other lives and you have to be careful with that.
Right. I love that. What are some ways you would say one can learn to recenter and reconnect with their sensuality? To even get to this point of knowing if they want to explore while we're talking about it.
What is the give me an age category?
Let's say I always say 25 and 30. Let's go 30 and up.
30 and up. See,
Yes.
so 30 and up, they probably receive the same type of information, or maybe well, Google was around then, so Google helps a lot. Google
Yes.
wasn't around when I was out there. So getting textbook information for the lifestyle is one thing, and that's very good because that was not available in my years. Um, you definitely have to vet, vet, vet. Vet means you have to date, ask the right questions, ask hard questions, like
Mm,
because it's dangerous when you are trying to have that level of a relationship with somebody. Ask if they can't answer the questions, that's immediately red flag.
hmm,
Because poly has been also been caught up as in being in trafficking. Are you following me?
mm-hmm.
And it's very important that you ask the right questions and making sure that this person knows the rules and regulations and the respect and the dignity that comes with poly.
Right. Right.
Very, very, very serious because you'll get a young woman or a young gentleman that does not know the dynamics of poly and get caught up with a narcissist,
Hmm.
you know, that is verbally and mentally abusive.
Right.
That's making them do these things that's not part of the lifestyle, but they don't know that.
Right.
So I would always say get into a group. I'm affiliated with Black BDSM Elite. I'm a part of the family, and
Mhm.
we are full of knowledge. We educate. A certain night even have an academy to teach you one on one on what BDSM and poly life looks like because it's so important that you know the rules and regulations on something of that caliber because it could turn out to be tragic if you don't.
Right. And
Yeah.
what culture would you say that it really originated
Of
from?
course, Caucasians, it's right off the bat. And see, and within the past couple of, I
Okay.
want to say within the past 20, I'll give it 30 years,
Mhm.
that we as an African American group are walking in that boldly.
Right.
You know, everything we touch and everything we do, we have our own spin of glitz and glamour and love and peace.
Always.
That's who we are and that's what we do.
Right.
And I have to say, Black love looks very different in poly versus Caucasian love. Even though there are basic rules and regulations in the dynamic, but
Hmm.
we always add an extra crown or extra jewel that makes us shine. That's just
What,
who we are.
what would you say is the main difference you
I would
feel?
probably say how we intermingle with each other. I
Okay.
mean, the whole, because we come from an era where we're we're not looked upon with love in the eyes of others. We show you that we have love and pride. You don't
Mm.
have to love and you don't have to love on us. We love on us.
Mm.
Caucasian
Amen to that.
Caucasian communities in the lifestyle of BDSM and also in poly, they're privileged already. So
Yeah.
that's their normacy.
Mm.
So
Yeah. I understand completely what you're saying. They don't even show as much gratitude to certain things as we do, which is insane. I remember being in private school and going over to my friend's house and their older siblings and the way they would talk to their parents, and I just used to be like, my head would be over there to Africa by now
exactly.
with certain things. Certain, I wouldn't, as a child or even an adult, I wouldn't even think to talk to people like the way that I've heard some of them talk.
Yeah.
Insane. Sidebar, guys.
But polygamy was
Right.
the originator. And in Africa, polygamy
Okay.
is in the Middle East, period. It is common to have more than one wife.
And see,
So,
that's what made me ask because
yes.
doing my own research is definitely normalized and always has been. But like you said, it's order, it's structure.
I'm going to take it far back as people always ask me what type of person that I find interesting as a mate. I said one's biblical and one's science fiction. And it was like, okay, what does that look like? I have to say the biblical one is King Solomon, because King Solomon was the only man that had hundreds of wives and hundreds of concubines, but no jealousy or animosity. They all loved him the same because he made sure the equality and the quality of the women that he was married to and the concubines received equal respect on the level of the area that they came from. So he would have to be my favorite on the biblical side. Now, my
Mm.
science fiction one, I'm a Star Trek girl, I'm a Trekkie. I'm gonna have to say Spock. And the reason why I say Spock because his knowledge made him non-judgmental.
Mm. That's a balance right there. I love that.
So
That is balance.
yeah.
That's interesting. Interesting. What would you say is a fun way to introduce a new fantasy to a partner?
Mm. Kinks and fetishes?
Yes.
Male or female?
Hmm. Let's say female.
Has she done a kink or a fetish before?
Maybe one or two.
Okay. Allow her, for the gentleman, I would say, ask her this: what is the most eye closing, hear me say, eye closing experience you would like to experience with your eyes closed?
Hmm.
Yeah. Because when you remove sight, everything is heightened.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So from the sensual touch of him putting his hand around her neck, she's getting excited. Her nipples are starting to take form.
Right.
If he breathes on her skin, the
Right.
old word about the chicken skin or so forth, now she's got those little goosebumps on her body. So I
Right.
would say something that simple is the best opening to a kink. Now, kinks can go from spankings, which is very entertaining when you learn to do spanking correctly, because
Right.
it requires safety instructions. Yes.
Right.
Um,
I'm laughing because I've heard stories of this man beat me like I was a child again and thought that it was, turning me on. And I'm over there trying to suck it up. And I'm like, bitch, you are a good one because I would have been stopped him. Uh-uh.
choking is another one when taught to do correctly. You hear me say there are instructions on everything. Safety, 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 safety. Yeah.
Right.
You just can't go and grab somebody by their neck. That's just not gonna happen. So
Right.
if
I
you
don't want y'all to have to be calling 911 by the end of the night.
you want to do a kink, you need to do your research and make sure you are taught to do it correctly, safely, and enjoyable.
Right.
Fetishes, oh God, fetishes goes from A to Z, from a foot fetish to an underwear fetish. I mean, whatever floats to even breast milk fetish. I mean,
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
yes. So,
And I
just
try not to judge. Because to each his own. We're all wired
if
differently. Hey.
I would tell you half the things I've heard, I'm like, I have to turn off the camera and reposition myself. Hey, but you have to support the team. I always tell people when I do my reels, I do Myth Monday and I'll do Am I Weird Wednesday.
I love
Am
that.
I Weird Wednesday? I let people know you're not weird. You just have to find someone that meets your energy. You're not weird. There
Right.
is somebody out there that matches your energy, and you guys will be the best sexual partners
Right.
or the best intellect partners because you guys share something where people think you're weird. You're not weird. You just have to find someone to match that energy.
Right. Right. I love that. That's why, like I told y'all, like I told her, I was online just searching, and that was one thing that really caught my eye because one of my brands is called the Weirdo Creations because I'm a weirdo that creates. I used to be called weird and this, that, and the third. And I realized at a young age, I was like, it's just because I'm different. That's why they called me weird.
You are a black unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I embraced it a long time ago.
as well as you should. As
We're
well as you should.
gonna definitely have to bring you back on. She already said she didn't mind because it's so much going through my mind just knowing that tidbit of her background. So for now, tell the people how they can go about booking a session with you.
Well, you can go Senga on Facebook, TikTok, and also Instagram. I have a business card on there. If it's a personal one-on-one, um, it starts a half an hour is $45. If you got me for an hour with the couples, hey, I can even take you over an hour. Depends on what you want to talk about. My primary thing is I like to reassure people that your sex life matters. And it matters on the level where you are pleased, your partner is pleased, and you guys understand where it takes you. It takes you to a MySpace area of where your fantasies and kinks and fetishes are welcome. That's your bedroom, that's your playroom. No one's gonna have a Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey playroom. But guess what? Your bedroom is that playroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So I want people to understand you play safely, you communicate well, and everyone is pleased. It's not one sided, especially when it's communicated. And that's where I sit. I sit in the middle to make sure everyone speaks what they want to say to make a union for a healthy sex life.
I love that. And I hope that you keep doing your thing. I hope to meet you in person one day, y'all. You know, some people I can just feel your energy through the damn screen. I swear.
Sis, if you're ever in Houston, let me know. I'll come pick you up from the airport.
I sure will. I plan to get there. Look, if not this year, next year for sure.
Yes, please, please.
And I look forward to having you back on. Seriously. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
definitely. It's been my pleasure.
Yes. Have a good evening, okay, baby?
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Bye bye.